It's Kathy Hester, and I'm back with something you want or don't want to see, I'm not sure. So this is the Creami that we've been talking about, and it was the only game in town. And so I just got this while I was gone this weekend, the new Ninja Creami Deluxe. So what we're gonna do today in this live is we're gonna unbox it. We're gonna kind of compare and contrast the parts and things like that to the old one. I have some opinions, but since I haven't really used it yet, and I am going to be doing some comparing and contrasting with different recipes and things like that as we go along, probably through the next couple of weeks, so that you can get a really good, much better idea of it. So hopefully that helps. And Cheryl, if you want to share this in any of the groups, you could. Okay. Or at least the groups that we're members of. So, hey Lydia! I know, isn't it weird that there's a new one? So you guys tell me where you are. And here I can, let's see if I can make it so you can see the top of this. We're gonna look at some of the box stuff like we do. See, look. Oh, that's funny. It says 10-in-1 here, but this might be a pre-release one because I got this from Ninja for free. Just so you guys know, I asked for it for you guys. 5 added inputs. We're going to look at the real thing too. But as you can see, it includes the motor base, 2 pints, an outer bowl and lid, the creamizer paddle, and a recipe guide. So it's pretty much the same as ingredients. Ingredients included. Doesn't that sound like something a recipe developer would say? Yes, it does. Okay, Robin is from cold Wisconsin, and it's chilly today here in Durham, North Carolina, and it's awesome. Sherry says, excited to see this, but doubt I'll be invested. Real clear with you guys. I am not showing you this to tell you to dump your old one and get a new one. I want to see what the difference is. I have, and again, I will say this is, I suspect, and we're going to find out for some pints. Also, I came back from a little vacation last night, which is why I don't have anything frozen for you. But I've been making basically Frappuccinos, which are coffee ice cream milkshakes, and that's one of the new settings. I'm wondering how much of the new settings are really necessary, or you could really make those recipes in your old Creami. We're going to be looking at that. One of the things that I do know that I'm not sure how I feel about at all is this guy is a pint, which is 2 cups. The deluxe pint. Okay, yes, let's say that deluxe pint. Not deluxe container, but deluxe pint, which is not nice, is 3 cups. So if this is your first Creami and you're looking at some older Creami recipes, you're probably going to have to make 1.5. So you're going to have to increase that recipe a little bit. So, oh, awesome. Oh, it's Jackie. Hi, Jackie. I like that Sweet Queen Diva. I feel like that's a song I can get behind.
You're on the wrong sound source.
Am I?
You are getting sound, but you're not on the...
Scarlet?
You're not on the...
Okay, here we go. Now I'm on a different mic. Hopefully this is better. This is why I didn't want to set up 2 mics, she said to Cheryl. So I see a lot of you are here, so you're like, whoa! Creami Deluxe! All the feelings. So again, let me reiterate, I will multiple times, that this is not to sell you on this. We are just opening it up to look and see what's inside. I've got my little one here. So it still has the dual drive motor. Most of these things are very similar. The added output, oh, that was on the other side too. The added outputs, here, we'll look at it from this camera, I think. Can we see that? I'm going to fidget with this. Here we go. So we can see it a little better. I'm sorry about the dog barking. So there's frozen drinks, slushy, Frappuccino, frozen yogurt, and Italian ice. I can tell you I have been making frozen yogurt in my old machine since the very get-go. I've also been making a lot of sorbets, which to me seems very much like sorbets. Italian ice seems similar to me. Oh, yay, hey everybody. Okay, let's see. It's Sherry's from Dallas, Texas, where it's hot. Susan said it's a good thing you had your vacation before this week. Yes. Imagine being at Walt Disney World and it closes. That would be really crazy. Oh, you're watching from Lewisburg, North Carolina. That's awesome. And it's supposed to be kind of bad in Asheville next weekend. Actually, the Asheville Veg Fest, which is run by the Triangle Veg Fest people, just moved their date because it's supposed to be a lot of flooding this coming weekend there. And hey, Apple. And Catherine from Sarasota. Oh, you're watching in the middle of the hurricane? Okay, be safe, okay? The Ninja Creami Deluxe will wait for you. Don't worry. Okay, so I'm going to see. Cheryl said she was going to come over and help me, but she's gone now. So at the top of this are some booklets, and we'll look at these. And then this is always the hard part of kind of getting the thing out of the big box. Cheryl says Max dropped his cookie off the deck. Okay. You lift, I'll hold. Oh, wait. You can't lift up anymore because of the camera. Okay, there you go. Now you can finish lifting off. Okay, I got it. Alrighty. So we've got some cord here. I can let you see overhead. It's not that, oh, hi CJ. That's awesome. Linda. Yeah, saying a prayer for all the people in the path of the hurricane, indeed. And Saunders in Gainesville, where it's dark and gloomy with some rain, but not too bad. Good. Everybody stay safe, please. So we've got our little cord hanging out here, so I'm going to take the sky off. I like that there's lots of recyclable materials. That's always a plus. Okay, the new Creami pints. Obviously, I'm going to wash all this up and everything. And know that however many pints they're saying, there's going to be another pint inside of the machine. I'm going to take some of this out.
Let's do a shout out to Diane Chernow. She's in Fort Myers when they are taking the correct hit right now.
Okay, Diane, can you say her name again? So
Chernow?
Diane
Chernow.
Okay, we're sending special thoughts and safe thoughts because it's in the middle of the hurricane. Okay, it's further north at Ocala.
That's where my parents are.
Okay. She thinks I can read an email and her mind and talk to you all at the same time. So everybody just send out all the good vibes, prayers, whatever you do, because it's pretty bad. The people of Puerto Rico, no, Cuba. The people of Cuba have really had a massive hard time with this too. Last I was reading last night, they had no power. And I've never seen it where it said a whole country and no power in the same thing. So that's terrible. Okay. Wow. This is a little different look and feel. So we're just, and again, it's not, the outside feels a little more heavy duty. This is still I think this is still plastic. Yeah. It's just a little bit heavier. This part is a little bit heavier and more topped. This has got the same old QR code like we saw before to get recipes and things. Okay, you guys can't see me do this, I'm sorry. I'm lifting it. I know there's this in here, which I haven't even tried to get in or out, so we'll see if I can even do that. That's going up. How do I get it out going down? Hold and twist to release bowl. That's putting it there. That's from there. This one, I gotta figure this out. There's some other place. I'll have to look at the manual. I'm just up here. Just look at the manual. Okay. So it's not exactly the same in out. And this is what we're all doing. So let me grab the original Creami container, and I'm going to put the lid on it and show you. You know, and hi Jackie. So when I put it in here, I can pull it up. This brings it down, and it just lifts up. So it's some sort of different configuration here. And Cheryl hasn't found it yet.
Remove lid, press the lid, unlock button, and twist the lid counter.
Not the lid. I'm trying to get this part out. Cheryl doesn't understand.
I understand what you're
See,
saying.
look.
Right.
Well, this is what lets this come back down.
Do you also press it to release it?
Well, I'm trying. It says hold and twist to release bowl, but it's releasing the bowl. I see where it's kind of in here, but I'm not sure how to get it out. That's the blade. And see, this will take this off. I mean, I can take this off, and I still can't lift that off. Well, here, just give it to me. It's fine. So this is, when we do things like this is why we're doing it. Someone says the sound's cutting in and out on theirs. Can you check the sound part? Okay. Anybody else having sound issues? Cheryl, go check the sound, please. Okay, let's see. Khaki Blue wonders if they'll offer sale prices during Christmas time. And I don't know. I'm going to assume, like in past years, they'll do something Black Friday probably, and probably after Christmas. They've done things with this machine over the holidays. This one, okay, Apple says the sound is good for you.
Yeah,
Do you put it straight? It's not that. It literally is. Because see, and again, we're figuring this out live. It's just the way it is. I could have done all this, and then it wouldn't be an unboxing, though. Okay. Okay, everybody's saying the sound is good. It could be that your internet is coming in and out a little bit. So there we go. If ours is all good. Okay, so I'm going to look here at the quick start guide. I wonder if it needs to be plugged in. Will you plug it in? Because maybe it has something that doesn't want to do unless it's plugged in. And the reason I do these lives and stuff like this is so you can see what some problems you might have. Install out of remove bowl. Hold the release, twist the bowl clockwise, and then pull away. Oh! And pull away from the unit. It's completely different. Okay. I feel so smart because I read something like a grown-up. No, don't move that. Yeah. Okay. So with this one, it has a different little bit of bottom. So to put it in, we put it in this way. Get that thing. It's hard to do it when I'm
backwards.
So it's very hard to do it back. So I put it in so it's perpendicular, right? And then when I'm ready to do it, I move up and it makes this little guy come up. Okay, so snazzy people, this is different. This slides into these guides, which is why I couldn't twist it off no matter how hard I tried. I also think I need it to come towards me. So putting it down, putting it in, then it's locked. Then that locks, and then when we click this, just like in the other one. then pull it out. So it's actually more secure. So that's kind of a cool thing. So it had nothing to do with me plugging things in. And no, it's okay. And someone said, "Oh, Frap, this is nice." And the thing is I've made a Frappuccino with this. You could freeze. So also, let's look for a second. This is the difference in the pints. Well, you can't see there. You can see over here. Okay, that's pretty significant. So it's 3 cups versus 2 cups. And I think one of the reasons that they made this machine is because maybe people were getting complaints that this wasn't enough for a family. I don't know. I wish they would tell me all the things, but they don't.
On the box it even says XL family size.
Okay, Cheryl is pointing out on the box it says extra large family size. Can you guys see that? So it could be that we're going to end up with 2 models that keep going. I don't know. I'm not getting rid of mine. Not getting rid of mine. Okay, so if you're eating a pint for breakfast, this would make it a little harder. Or half a pint, you'd have 3 half pints. But maybe if you're a 3-person household, 4-person household, this would work better for you. I don't know. And Sherry says, sounds good. Sounds good for me. My Costco had the original one on sale yesterday for $149. Now is a great time to get the older one. And like I said, I'm going to be comparing some of these new cycles to how I've been doing it on the old one, and we're going to see if it's that vastly improved or not. I think another reason that this might be 3 cups instead of 2 is so you could make a Frappuccino from those 2 cups. And we're going to find that out as I look at it more. Sandra said, is it a more powerful motor? It is not. It is the same motor. Now, if they've done any other inside improvements, because if you look at the housing, it seems to be bigger through to here versus this. So the housing seems to be built a little different. It's still both plastic, but I do feel like some of this plastic on the top and the back seems to be a little more solid. But this isn't bad. I'm just like really trying to nitpicky compare what I'm seeing. Okay, so we found this one thing out. So let's see what some of the other things are like. So the lids are going to be bigger. They're not going to fit. Your pints aren't going to work in this one. You have to have the special pints, okay? When you unbox this, your second pint will be in here. And this works the same way. So you've got your lid button, you press your lid button, it came right off just exactly the same way. Just like the first one, our blade is in here. I suspect the blade will be bigger as well because these are fitting inside of here. So to me that says everything's a little bit bigger. Okay, so that's where your second pint is. Because if this is your first purchase and you're like, lady, I don't know what's going on, know that I was like, it was supposed to be 3 pints in here, and I was a little bit ticked off, and then I found it in here.
Well, those pints are a little different too. They've got ridges on them.
They do have ridges, and they have some other instructions too. So let's look at that really quick. Here we can zoom in a little bit. Can you guys see that? So on the smaller pints, there's just, there we go, is the max fill line. This one has a freeze line, which looks suspiciously like a pint, but we'll find out again. I'll make some of the recipes for that. So it looks like, I'm wondering, because that's the freeze line. And see over here, scoopable max fill line, drinkable pour in. So they're wanting you to make ice, like let's make mocha ice cream, or let's make vanilla ice cream and add some cold brew coffee. Or let's make our margarita sorbet and add our tequila or alcohol-free tequila. Things like that, right? So you've got that going. So I'm wondering too, so one of the big things that people got really freaked out about is cleaning out here. It actually is so good. Let me see if we can see it real good now. This is way clearer. Can you guys see how you can see through and see all these little pieces? And I know a lot of people, because you come in, you pour water in here, water still comes out these two sides to clean out some stuff in here. Stuff only gets inside of here when it's over full. So having this extra bit of room in here could prevent this from getting dirty. So again, this is conjecture. Want to be real clear. We are going to put it through its paces this week though, I promise you. But I like that it's clearer because then the people who are worried can see what's inside better. There's also more holes, it looks like. It looks like there's some holes all the way around in here too to get things out. It's a really bad idea. I know a lot of people are doing it to take those straw cleaners and shove them down in here because there's little springs and mechanical things. If you have some gross stuff growing in your old lid, I can't remember if this is the clearer lid. The very first one I got was less clear. This is the less clear. But this will be a great way for you to see the difference. So see how you don't see much in here? And you see everything in here. And then I have one that's kind of in between. It was the purple one I have. So also it looks like this is a little bigger, would be a little easier to clean. I'm wondering if the silicone rings are probably still, that one was real easy to pop out. I'm assuming they're not the same size, and they're not. So the parts are going to be different. And again, if you, ooh, I don't know if it's just because this one's tighter. Look at this. See how it's tighter, more like an Instant Pot seal.
That's way tighter.
Yeah, it's way, way tighter. Because also one of the reasons you have to take it out and clean it is because this one's pretty loose. Like, look. Like when I put it in here, see how loose it is? It's almost as if it's a little bit too big. Yeah. So we'll find out over the week if that's just because it's new or because it's been made a little tighter. I suspect that they've taken all the comments and complaints that they've gotten and put it into this machine. So like I said, I don't know if then that means there's going to be a new regular deluxe or the new and improved Ninja Creami couple edition. I don't know. I wish I knew all the things. And I missed something about respin. So if you could put back in the respin comment, because I see respin not respond. Awesome. Sandra says, cleaning the lid is my issue even though I do not overfill it and I have the remnants of chocolate and ice cream that I can't get out no matter how much I've soaked it in hot water with vinegar. I do find the darker ones get in there a little more. I also, if you've done half a pint, so you could make just half a pint and then it probably is never going to get as much in there. I have put it, instead of with vinegar, I've done it with some dish soap overnight and everything came out of mine just fine. So if it's been in there for a while, like when I first had my Creami, I wasn't taking this out. So the first time was kind of gross and I soaked it in some like extra stuff. But dish soap seems to work just fine. Oh, the Norma says nice gadget. No, someone said they sent me a defective one. No, my brain was defective. I refuse when I'm doing an unboxing to look at the instructions until I can't do something. And the reason for that is that you're probably going to experience the same thing. You have the same, if you have this Ninja Creami, you're going to try and do the same things. And this gives us kind of all a good starting point to try and see what's going on. And I bet you everyone that I know, everyone in the Ninja Creami experience is going to be like, I can't get this out because I was the same way and now I'll have an answer. So that's why I like to do it that way. I have heard good things about this khaki blue. Some people have soaked those lids with denture cleaning tabs and had really great results. I don't have any, so I haven't tried it, but I've heard good things about it. Okay, so let's see if some other stuff is the same, because again, this is just, and maybe what we'll do, because I haven't washed any of this, we'll do a milkshake setting and just kind of see how everything works as a testing. So we've got this guy, and it's shaped a little bit differently, partially because of sliding on, which we couldn't see till we slid it off. See, Cheryl? Yeah. It makes more sense when you see it out.
Considerably bigger.
It is. It's a lot bigger. We put about that much water in there. Doesn't matter. Okay. So again, much larger, and that's part of the point of this one, that it's larger. If that, it doesn't really help me, but it doesn't hurt anything. It will change the storage space in your fridge, which I know some people are not going to like. Patricia, can you tell how to make a Frappuccino? That's something I'll probably do tomorrow or the next day. Why? Because I have to freeze some stuff to do it. So how I've done it in this one is I've made a coffee ice cream, and you can either do it in 2 half pints, and then I filled some liquid in. So just like I did my banana milkshake on my YouTube channel, so if you go over there, you'll see that. I had half a container, so I spun it on light ice cream. Then I put some non-dairy milk in it and put it on milkshake. So I'm going to do a side-by-side comparison. You can just sit it right there. I'm not quite ready for it yet. Yeah. So it's, again, I'm not showing you for any other reason except for I haven't had time to freeze anything. I just got it. All right, so blades. Let's look at the blade. The blade seems to be a little more intense, actually, which is kind of cool. Let's come back up here. You can see that there's a larger, oh, sorry, here. Let Cheryl see too. There's still a size difference, but just a little bit because it's a bigger pint. But if you notice, these are smaller or closer together, the gaps, and there's more of them. So I suspect that should really help creamyize it a little bit more.
That flat one seems like it might be a little sharper than this one too.
It's not sharp at all. See, look. No, nothing's happening. It's not, this is a little bit sharp. You could, it's not sharp like a knife. It's sharp like that's an edge. But it is different shaped. Yeah. This is, again, thinner. So it's actually been tailored a little bit more on all of them. But the gaps here, which is going to help really scrape that ice down. So that's kind of interesting too. That'll be real cool to see. So I'm assuming we still have the paddle latch. Remember, we moved this. And what happens is these guys, this is the same. And you guys can see all the little mechanics working. And you drop that in. And it's still going to wiggle a little, because it's not staying here forever. It's staying here for right now. And I'll talk about that in a minute. Okay, so I've just put a little bit of water in here. You could put a little bit of soap if you wanted, but a little bit of water. You don't have to do this, actually. I am doing this just to test this so you can kind of see what's going on. It's not necessary to do. Some people, because we've still got our little nib here. Let's see if we can get this. And we'll find out that. So that is going to then, this is not the new one, this is the new one. So it connects here, and see how it's a magnet? and then that comes down into the pint as it's spinning. The different settings control the speed around and how fast or slow this comes down. All right, let me see a couple more questions. Apple's saying, I'm curious if it's just as loud as the older machine. A quieter machine would be wonderful. It is loud. It is a loud machine. But it's also kind of like a drill press sawing through frozen stuff. So what we're going to hear today is not going to be indicative of it because we're using just a little water. We're going to be using the milkshake setting. Hopefully I can figure out how to make that happen. Maybe we should do that front facing first because I haven't tried to do that. Okay, so I'm going to slide this guy in and then I'm going to turn it up to click in. Okay, now this says press to begin processing. Before we didn't have to press to begin processing. I'm going to turn it on. Okay, I can't do this from the side. Okay, well, I've got it facing this way. So the first thing I see here is there's top, bottom, and full. So you could do chocolate on the bottom and vanilla on the top and only process the vanilla to half. So you can make 2 flavors in 1 pint, or you can only process exactly what you want to eat. Does it hurt to process it multiple times? No, because I've done it 80 mazillion times and it's fine. So I'm not sure what the thing is that. Aw, thanks, Evan. I appreciate that very much. Brenda says, I like the icy part around the edge of the container, like 2 desserts in 1. So this is with either one. So she's talking about what I call an ice wall. So because if this came all the way through, it would just be putting plastic in our stuff, which we don't want to do. There's a real thin, I don't know how many millimeters it is, ice wall. And if you like it, like some people do, awesome. If you hate it, let your pint sit out another 10 to 15 minutes. Run it under some warm water on the outside, or respin it with a little extra non-dairy milk. Scrape it down, respin. There's a whole bunch of ways you can get rid of that too. And Sandra says, I don't have to respin the leftovers. It depends on your recipe. It really does. I'm doing all whole food plant-based, and that's going to freeze solid it's really solid. So it's not as pleasant, and respinning it makes it perfect every time for me. If you're using a higher fat, higher sugar recipe, then you won't have to respin. Let's see. Paola says, on my Creami, the whole unit, when I try to remove it, gets stuck. I wait a couple of minutes, it's still stuck, so I usually force it and it'll finally come out. So sometimes, you know how we saw that thing magnet up to the top? If there's water inside this, because it's got a little divot, it can freeze because it's metal to metal. So that's one thing that can happen to where things won't release. Usually it has to do with the cold most of the time. There is a known thing, but you wouldn't be able to get it out. So if you're like, that's great, Kathy, but I can't get mine out and it's been days. Make sure you've unplugged it, plugged it back in, tried all the things. You can also press this and take the lid off, and then you can usually remove it in pieces, and that often helps as well. So there's that. Okay. And Sandra says, I'm also plant-based, no fat, sugar. I let it sit for a few minutes, and it's just as creamy as far as that. That's great. Personal preference is big. It plays a huge part on how many dates you use or don't use. For me, the reason I spent money on this machine is I want it perfect every time. So I'm a proponent of 2 things that not everybody's necessarily going to do. One is blending your ingredients in a blender, because I find the results are more consistent. I find it makes a smoother product, and your flavors are more consistent throughout the mix. Not everybody wants to do that, and you don't have to. The other thing is respinning to get that kind of ice cream shop quality consistency every time. And that's what I like. You don't have to do that at all, for sure. Okay. So I'm going to look on, I'm going to put you over here, and then I'm just going to try and figure out with the button situation. Let me see if I can do it sideways. Okay. Because this is different. I have to turn the, I guess, you know what? We'll look at it together. I'm sorry, you're seeing Cheryl and equipment and stuff like that. All right. So, see, we can do top, full, or bottom. And, oh, we press the thing. And it tells you how many minutes. That's the install button, so I'm assuming it would be flashing if I hadn't put this up. Ice cream, light ice cream, and it tells you the minutes change to 4. Sorbet, gelato, frozen yogurt, mix in. So that's interesting. Or is it mix in? No, it's Italian ice. Yeah, that design could have been a little bit better. So if I keep turning this way, no, I've got to turn all the way back this way. If I turn, what do I have to do to go to drinkables? Oh! Oh, here's something cool that's different. So, if I had $1 for every time someone said, hey, it made a weird noise and I wish I could make it stop, I could have had this Deluxe Creami. I would have paid for it. So, so there's that. I got to figure out how to get over to the drinkable ones. So I'm going to look to see if there is talk of the buttons in the quick start. Because it wasn't just turn it to the other side.
Where was that other pint had a thing that said?
Oh, here. I was just talking about making drinks.
Oh.
And half full and whatever. I'm just, let me try and look at it again. I'm just trying to figure it out. Oh, awesome. Yeah, you know, there's no hurry to buy things. There's just no hurry to buy things at all. So don't worry. Okay. And I should change cameras if I want you to see that. All right, so I went this way. Power on. What if I just go that way? Oh, it doesn't like it. Let me take this down and put it back in. So the install button, if you're doing a process, you have to take the thing down and put it back up before you respin. Okay, so we're just going to say, maybe I have to put full and then I can go over here. What happens if I put that? Aha, so I have to pick full if I want to do one of the drink ones over here. So I'm going to do full. Frappuccino is 5 minutes. Frozen drink is 5 minutes. Slushy is 5 minutes. Milkshake is 2 minutes. We're just going to do the milkshake, and we should be able to see everything come through here and just do the water. We're just putting a little bit in here just to see, and it's a good way to check to see how everything's going. So instead of pressing this, which would turn the power off, I'm going to press this. So it's about here. It hasn't hit the water yet. Can you guys see it a little bit? And you'll hear it, you'll see it when it hits the water. But see how that's coming down? See? It probably is. So Cheryl's thinking the width of the I don't know what you call it, the pole thing that comes down. You see it's coming back up, slowing down. You're going to start seeing it raise up. It does, I think everything about the machine is a little bit bigger. The watts of the motor as listed now is not a bigger motor. However, with some small improvements, that same, I believe it's a 600 watt motor, could still do a lot of good things. It's not a wussy motor. And this definitely is being held in much better. I know that my friend Michelle was saying hers was wiggling with one of her recipes, and that's not going to happen here. So, and you don't have to do what I did. However, if you're like, the rod is self-cleaning, which means it does clean all the stuff off. And you can tell because I've done this on the milkshake setting. Do not fill your pint up with water and soap and go to town because it's going to go everywhere. You can put a little bit in and use milkshake setting if you really want to. But like if you use soap, it's going to put soap up there and then you're going to have to rinse it, and I don't know. It just makes me a little feel weird. So I just put a little water in there. I've done this with my older machine that I've been using from the beginning and trying to break almost actively and that hasn't broken yet. And I've not seen any chocolate bits or anything like that in the water. So we're going to do this to bring that down. Oh, it says 800 watts? I wonder if I was wrong. Why don't you look up and see if the other one is 800 or 600, because maybe I misspoke. Okay, so again, sliding it out, and it's focused on that. Sorry about that, guys. Getting used to my new overhead camera. Okay? But everything looks fine. One thing that I would look for to make sure there's no scratches. There's not any scratches on any of my pints. I like this new blade, I think. I like that this is tighter. Does that look a little bit different? No, that's actually the same kind of mechanism. Sorry, I had to get that one out as the other. And here I can put this in so you can kind of see the difference. And again, not saying one's better than worse. There should be improvements on this, as well as it just being a little bit bigger. Without that, I would be very disappointed. I like that this is tighter. I'm going to be washing it and seeing how that wears out. I like the extra notches. I'm wondering if that's going to make things go a little bit easier. I think I like the security of having that slide inside of these. I've not had anything shake around, but if you have, I think that would be disturbing because it's going really fast. Cheryl, I don't think we have a box.
No, I was looking on the website. The original is showing it 800 watts.
Okay, so both are 800 watts. I am very sorry. I misspoke at 600. I was just pulling it out of the air. So both are 800 watt motors. So it's not like this motor was one and this is the other. It's the same motor. There could be some tweaks and things on it that I wouldn't know about. Sherry's saying any sound difference that you can tell. You're really not able to tell because it's just water. So I don't want to jump that gun, but what I am going to do as soon as I get off of here, I'm going to clean these pints and I'm going to put a couple of things in there. I'm going to film it separately, but we'll run it together tomorrow. I only have these 2 pints, so that's what we're going to be able to do. So we're only going to do like one thing a day, but if I'm doing it live, we'll take parts of that live and pull it into a smaller video so you guys can watch it. Cheryl's going to make this into a smaller video as well, just with the demo, so people can see that as well. The new Ninja Creami, I think, is $20 more. I think it's $2.49. full price. So, I mean, the price difference isn't that much. So if you haven't gotten one and you have a larger family, I would lean towards this one because it's not like this is $100 more or something. If you have one of these, keep it. At this point, that is my absolute recommendation. I'm keeping mine. I have 20 pints. I have 20 of these smaller pints. It's perfect for me to recipe develop in. In fact, I'm working on a fall Ninja Creami cookbook, as well as I'm going to be releasing on Kindle and PDF my original Ninja Creami cookbook separately from the Ninja Creami experience. But that's an announcement for when that's done.
$279 is what the
Oh, is it $279 now?
Let me double check on their site if that was at Kohl's.
No, look on their site. At least.
No, $249.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, $249. So that's what it is, Liz. And CJ says the machine isn't available over in the UK yet, probably just as well. I can't be tempted to buy one. Once again, you guys are fine with the machines that you have. If you don't have a machine yet and you're trying to decide which one to get, hopefully this next week will help us really see. But also, you can make a Frappuccino in this one. A totally different way. We're going to make ice cream. We're going to basically make frozen Frappuccino and put some milk in there and make it like a milkshake. It's all going to be good. So I suspect, and we'll do some side-by-sides. With the Italian ice, they are using things like powdered drink mix instead of fruit. So I don't know if that's different. I'd be interested to maybe try and do a blended sorbet, not frozen chunks of fruit, but blended fruit on that setting to maybe try. So at some point we'll do 2 pints. We'll do, or we can do half a pint actually in here. So I could spend half the pint as sorbet and half the pint as Italian ice and see if there's a difference. So we're going to do little things like that. So I'm going to plan the whole week out. Oh, and thank you. Yeah, I love those big windows too. Sometimes you can see people driving by because there's a road out there too. Do you guys have any questions or anything you want me to look at that's just looking at like this? Here, I can look at some of the instructions, but hopefully tomorrow, because I'll freeze a couple of things, we can do something more actionable, like spin something. But like for the drinks, it says making drinkables in 1, 2, 3 steps. Freeze. Fill the base to the drinkable fill line that we looked at and freeze for 24 hours. Pour in. After 24 hours, remove your base and add your desired pour in until it reaches the drinkable pour in line. A liquid pour in must be added to the deluxe pint before processing to ensure the perfect sippable texture. So, and then after adding your pour in, now it's time to process. If your base is very cold, you may need to be processed a few times to reach the perfect texture. So to me, if we've got our coffee frozen thing to here, and then I'm adding whatever I use for cream or non-dairy milk or whatever like that, that doesn't seem to be very different than me having half a pint of frozen coffee stuff and putting some liquid in here. I process it first, then I process this on ice cream, light ice cream, when I do my coffee ice cream, and there's a couple in the book. And you can use non-coffee like Ticino and things like that. And then I process it as a milkshake. So it'll be interesting to see, is the texture that much better? Is it pretty much the same? Are they just leaving it to make it a little easier and more easy to understand quickly is what I'm wondering if they're doing. Aw, thanks Pam. I'm glad that you enjoyed the information. I know I've been dying to know what this is and how it's different. So I'm very excited to be trying something every day. So again, every day there'll be a live or a video or both for the next week is my plan. So if something doesn't freeze up all the way or whatever, and we're just going to try it together so that way you can see my trials and tribulations and what goes right and wrong. Oh, that's awesome. And as Sherry said, she enjoyed the unboxing, excited to see what we all decide to show her. And, oh, this is interesting. I'm seeing part 2 of this. At first I was like, why are we talking about water picks? But thank you, Susan. This makes sense now.
Well, that's a great idea.
She uses a water pick for your teeth, cleans out the lid. And that I could see using. So I think that's pretty smart. Yay, Susan.
That's a really good idea.
That is a gold star idea right there. Okay, guys, I'm going to go so I can make some stuff to put in this pint, and we're probably going to do some plain stuff. I have some cold brew coffee. I have some Califia creamer, so I may just throw that together and see how that works. And I'll look around and see if maybe there's a sorbet, or if maybe I'll do Dole Whip or something, just to see how the consistency is different. Oh, you're so welcome for the unboxing, you guys. If you can, if you're watching this on YouTube, please subscribe. Give me a thumbs up if you can. I hate to ask for those, but I want to make sure that other people get to see this, because I know as new people are starting to buy something without having this information, it's going to be a lot easier for people to pick the best one for them, and that's really important. And yeah, I know I have a busy week ahead. I wasn't even planning on this. They were like, we don't know when it's going to come. And I was like, okay. So have an amazing rest of your day. Those of you that are in Kathy's Cooking Club, don't forget tomorrow at 4 p.m. we have the apple class. And we're going to make apple bread and split pea soup with apples and a few other things. It's going to be all fall appley goodness. If you guys want to get in on that class, if you're on my newsletter, you got a link to get discounts. If you're not on my newsletter, I think there's a link to sign up below, or you can email me at kathyhester@gmail.com. I'll send you that discount code, or you could just purchase the apple class over on kathyhester.podia.com for $35 and come join us live. So anyhow, I know Apple says apples. I know, I thought you were in there. Awesome. Oh yeah, sweet potatoes are great in bases. All right, I'm gonna go now so I can make you some stuff for tomorrow, and I can't wait to see you and hang out with you more. Okay, have